CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com. General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank, now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop! Woohoo!
Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello, and welcome into the Don't Punt Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'm Ben Droz, running the board, but as always, we got DeMornay Pierson-El on the stream as always. DeMornay, how are you doing on a Thursday night ahead of a Nebraska football game on Saturday?
Struggling a little bit, still rallying, trying to process, what was said and kind of what was going on. And then, you got Ohio State to face. It's just it's a long week. It's a long week.
Yeah, you played at Nebraska, and and I just want to get right into this conversation because it's just so fascinating. The Matt Rule press conference on Monday was really fascinating to me. And the most fascinating comment he made was when he said the hardest thing he's had to deal with since coming to Nebraska is getting rid of that here we go again mentality. When I want to ask you, when did you start seeing that mentality kind of take over this team, and why do you feel like it's so hard for this team to shake that mentality?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a mentality. It was the reality of the situation. I would say probably Frost's second year. 2017 was kind of things kicked off what they were. Frost kind of came in and, talking about, people, or he was going to make the Big Ten adjust to him and whatnot. And then stuff happened, year one with stuff and everything like that. Lost a whole lot of close games, but they played well. And then his second year, I mean, I feel like that's where kind of things just kind of sit. That was kind of the tone for things. It's just because it was nothing kind of changed that year. It was like new troubles. It was new situations. It was new ways to lose games. So I think Frost's second year is when I would say kind of that became the okay. That's I don't want to say the norm, but that became here we go again type stuff.
Mm-hmm. How much do you feel like the outside noise kind of adds to that? Because I mean, you can clearly see that Husker fans have already Nebraska's 5-2 right now. Yes, they just had a bad loss against Indiana, but they're still 5-2. But you still have some fans on Twitter saying, fire coaches, here we go again, not going to make a bowl game. I mean, how much do you think that affects a team?
I mean, after you get a year in the program and you kind of understand how, and I don't want to say, well, you understand like how things move, what people say, how passionate people are, or whatnot. You kind of learn to take it with a grain of salt. You really don't pay attention to it. You kind of tone it out. Like you hear it every now and then. Indiana type game, that might be one of the games, it really pisses you off or ticks you off because it's, it wasn't a good showing. Every now and then, but for the most part, I mean, you kind of tone out the outside noise because everybody has something to say. Everybody's an expert. Everybody knows what's best. Everybody knows what's going on, how things should be handled. It's easy to, point and say, oh, you would have done that differently after the situation is over and, from the outside looking in. But it's different, going through, the day-to-day process of week in and week out and certain things. You can have a plan and, the plan may suck or whatnot. And obviously, once stuff doesn't get executed or it does get executed, you can see, oh yeah, that probably wasn't a smart move, or if I can do that again, yeah, anybody can say that. So I don't think it's anything that's distracting or whatnot. You kind of learn to kind of ignore it, and it is what it is, and you can't change people's mind or hush their opinions or voicing what they feel like. So I wouldn't say that's something that would get players ticked off. Now you have some people who are kind of the Kevin Durant's who kind of want to go back at people or like I know Josh Mitchell was big on that. Kenny is a big interactor on Twitter and whatnot, and from time to time some guys would take jabs and everything like that, but not everybody's like that.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Rule even said, Nebraska, there's passionate fans.
Yeah.
And with that passion, you're going to get some, after a loss against Indiana like that, there's not going to be a lot of positivity. But in your experience of playing with Nebraska or any high school, whatever, playing football, what did your teams do after you guys had kind of a really tough, you guys didn't come out and play your best, had a really bad loss? What was kind of what did the week of practice after that look like?
Everybody was ticked off, typically pissed off. It was kind of a chippy type practice and everything, iron sharpens iron. And that's, been at high school, that's been on the collegiate level, that's been on, the NFL level. At certain points in the NFL, you couldn't tackle, but people would thud you up. You go back and jaw and everything like that. So it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It pisses you off for the week because everybody's talking about it. Every day you come up there, your coach is on you even more because it's like, what are we doing? It's they try and flip the script at every little thing, and it's. I don't want to say it's dramatic because they have every right so to say and hard coach you on stuff or whatnot. But typically, it's an annoying week at practice because every little thing you're getting criticized. You typically out there at a different time or whatnot, or they might change up. Now let's get out here and warm up. Like they try every little thing to figure things out and whatnot. So it's an annoying week because everybody's on that, from the strength coaches, from the trainers, from the personnel people, the assistant coaches. You hear it everywhere. And outside of, in those walls or whatnot, the school around, in classes or whatnot, people are talking about it. People know they got the athletes in class or whatnot. So, you hear it. So it's a very frustrating week, but you kind of, get some anger out, and hopefully, you stack your days. That way, the next following Saturday or next following game day, you're more so the hammer and not the nail.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of interesting because let's say Nebraska would have only lost Indiana by 1 score. It would have been like they barely lost towards the end of the game. Do you feel like a loss like this can maybe, I don't want to say it's good for a team, but kind of give this team a reality check to really, look at themselves in the mirror and say, okay, what do we need to improve on? Because if they would have lost, like 1 score to Indiana, maybe you're not like, you're thinking, okay, we're right there. But after a game like that, you're really looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, what happened?
It's a gut check. You got to be realistic, and you got to watch the film. Things weren't great. So you don't want to have those type of games.
Yeah.
What was put out there wasn't, their best shot.
No.
And regardless whether that was because of, it was 11 o'clock in the morning, whether you could say it's the big noon kickoff curse or whatever, or the stage was too bright or whatever it was, it wasn't the best showing. And you got to figure out, how to kind of not make sure that happens again. And you kind of have a blueprint because, okay, you remember what was happening that week. He's coming off a bye week. You remember how certain things was. So now, you might not be as, lax or as, because it's that serious now. Like you've seen what happens when you kind of play around or you kind of, go out there and think, oh, this team hasn't played anybody. I mean, they put their pants on just like, the next man. So you can't assume just because of certain things and situations that, people are going to roll over and, they got punched in the mouth. So, remembering that, you won't look at your opponents as such, you might not take the easier road, you might not take the cheese on doing stuff and feeling lackadaisical and feeling like, oh, you can just turn it on game day. And, you'll realize, no, it doesn't. You can't just turn it on Friday and Saturday. No, it takes the week to turn it on. And I think, Rule will do a good job of reminding them and not letting them feel comfortable or situated for that type of performance to kind of happen again.
Heading into this game, next segment, we can get more specifically into Ohio State. But heading into this game, what do you feel needs to happen for this team, for kind of the fan base to maybe relax a little bit, maybe the players to relax a little bit? I mean, some people might feel like a win's kind of out of touch, but still, what do you feel needs to happen on Saturday for this team to kind of settle down a little bit and kind of regain confidence?
Consistent play on both sides of the ball, and we'll dive into a little bit of more of that, but consistent play, you're in the right positions. You're a Division I athlete for a reason. You get an NIL paid, for a reason. And if you have aspirations to go to the next level, this type of game can, make or break you. Honestly, you play good against them. A lot of their players, often, they go to the league. So you're going to see NFL talent. You're going to see, first, second, and third round talent. So, you have to be ready, for that storm and whatnot. And, don't worry about, the next man's job and everything like that. As a whole collective group, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, on all sides, being consistent, having a good play and execution.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like fans even if it's not a win, they just want something to kind of be able to hang your hat on and be like, okay, that was a positive. Because, in that Indiana game, there just wasn't really a lot of
it's not, not even in the Indiana game. With the offensive coordinator saying what he said, at we had week 8 in the season, you can see why certain things are within the offense. You can see, if he's feeling good or if he's feeling comfortable or confident, certain things are moved, and that's typically a half or maybe, a quarter or a drive or whatever. For whatever reason, he might have been in his head. He might have been overthinking situations or not confident in situations. I know they got offensive coordinator. I don't know who's at fault. Is one guy been calling it? Has Satterfield been calling it like this the whole time? Is it the other guy that's been kind of taking over recently and whatnot? So, it's been a lot of distractions. It's been a lot of, it could be a lot of pointing the finger and whatnot and things like that. So you kind of gotta rally the troops and everything like that. Stick to a plan, and take control of things. I think if that happens, I think you'll see a lot more consistent play. From the offense, from the defense, that was a poor showing, and honestly, that was probably the worst showing we've seen from them. Probably in 2 years. You can say the Michigan game, but I mean, offense was
Not
just
like that.
overrated. So I'm not giving them a pass, but I mean, bad games happen. Early games, I get that or whatnot, but I mean, from the offensive standpoint, the offensive has been inconsistent, and they've left a whole lot of points out there on the board. They left a whole lot of meat on the bone. And you wonder why, how could that happen with, the comments that was said this week. So, kind of just getting back to the basics, simple football execution, guys out there, doing their part in it, winning their one-on-one matchups or, blocking, for the next man and everything like that. And, just have one common goal and accomplish that as a whole, offense or as a whole defense.
Yeah, I mean, the offense, we've kind of known the offense has been struggling, but the defense was definitely a surprise with just how easily Indiana was moving up and down the field. But let's go to the offense, because you mentioned some of Satterfield's comments. What do you feel like there is kind of one thing that you can point at for why this offense is kind of struggling a little bit? Or do you feel like it's just a collective, all the pieces are not fitting together right now?
I think it's a few things in total, but I mean, your offensive coordinator got up there and is not confident and is not really, sure about what the plan is or what his goals are and everything like that. If you don't necessarily have a plan, you might just be out there like Wilson and Castaway, just floating around, going with the waves and whatnot. And you can't afford that. You're at a good program. You're trying to bring back, the glory days being getting brought back into being, more relevant and whatnot. And you can't just have, maybe I need to do this more. And it's 8 games in. So you got that side of things, and then the other part is, not getting the offense, comfortable, not getting them, in a rhythm. So that's kind of the coaching part. On the players' part, at times, execution, whether that's offensive line getting their blocks, whether that's receivers running the right routes, whether that's receivers, blocking for, those explosive plays that are over 20, 25 yards, that can get things going on or whatnot. Like, yeah, you do that against the teams that you're supposed to. But, against Illinois, that wasn't a whole collectively, game. We played bad. We had 4 opportunities where we could have put the team, away and been thinking of it differently. But, execution is on, the athletes. The athletes have to do their part, and you can't keep messing up the same simple things over and over again or blowing, the assignments. You're 8 games in. You understand how the game plan goes. You understand how, to execute or what the coaches want from a player's perspective to go out there and win your one-on-one matchups, whether that's blocking, whether that's catching the ball, whether that's running the ball, whether that's, tackling, whether that's, dropping into your zone, whatever it is, it's you versus, that person or, this side of the ball versus this group. If, they got a 3 wide receiver set or 2 wide receiver set and we got 3 over 2, that's y'all setup. Each of y'all have your own individual battles to win. And I just don't think, from the offensive side that we've done that as effective as we could, as efficient as we could for a whole game. We've seen them done it, for a half. We haven't quite got to a 3-quarter, or a full game, even against, the teams that earlier in the season, teams that we were supposed to beat up on and everything like that. We seen some of those things that might have been, that would have become problems later on, and later on in the season, they have been. So, I mean, it's been right there in front of us the whole time. We were just, severely better than our opponents, and it can catch up to us in some of these games. Playing that Rutgers team, we could have beat, Rutgers way worse than what it was. And, dude dropped, touchdowns or whatnot. So, we squeaked by, but, squeaking by wasn't good enough. You ran into who we ran into, and look what happened. because you thinking, oh yeah, they're just like, I'm not saying that this is what the team thought. This is just outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, they haven't played anybody. Oh, this coach is coming from X, Y, and Z. You kind of believe kind of the noise a little bit more so than actually going out there respecting your opponent and giving them a tough fought battle.
Yeah, and before we go to break, I want to address a YouTube comment. Jim on YouTube says offensive inconsistency is due to the lack of perimeter blocking. I kind of want to get your thoughts on that because that's something that coaches have brought up a lot. Have you seen that as kind of a major problem with this offense?
I wouldn't say a major problem, but it's definitely an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in the wide receiver room, you hated to be in there on Sundays after the game, and you're the reason. Like the offensive coordinator says something to you, the head coach comes in there and says something to you. Oh, if you'd have strained a little bit more. Oh, if you'd have done this, we prided ourselves, making sure that our guy wasn't the guy that made the play. For us to not score and everything like that. And we had some other competitions in the room on other things to make things fun or whatnot, but I'm not saying that's not why the offense is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Maybe the fact that we keep every other series you got a different running back in there. No running back is getting consistent or in a rhythm. Maybe they're stacking the box, and the offensive line. I'm not saying that they're not doing their job because I feel like they've been doing a better job than we've seen in years past. But you haven't got the offensive line settled in to kind of impose their will and whatnot. You haven't gotten, this. You haven't really utilized the seams. With the tight end, we seen Fedoni what he can do. He had 6 catches for 91 yards.
Yep.
You telling me against the top 16 team in the nation, we couldn't have been doing that the whole season? So
Yep.
It's a number of things of why the offense doesn't look like that. That's just not on the wide receivers. Is the wide receivers the obvious one that everybody can kind of see? Yes, but I guarantee you it's other things and other reasons going on in that room on that side of the ball of why things aren't consistent.
There you go. I mean, I agree. I mean, the offense, there's no way you can just point to one thing. I mean, you have a run game that's struggling. You have wide receivers that are kind of struggling to get open. Your quarterback looks like his confidence maybe been shaken a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of been a mess on offense. And there's one idea that's been brought up, especially to spark the run game, that I have found very interesting is what is getting Harburg in there a little bit more. What do you think about the idea of Harburg getting more touches the rest of the season to maybe spark that run game?
I mean, sure, he has his packages, but we're saying like Harburg's better than Emmett. Harburg's better than Dodell or Ramir. Like that's not happening. He has he had certain breakout runs and everything like that. Well, yeah, the box was stacked. So it was him versus a safety or something like that. And he's a tight end.
Yeah.
So you can throw that in, but I don't think that's necessarily the answer because we had success with him last year, and that's the easiest thing to do. I think it's more of getting back on track with things. I think necessarily the fact that you're using 3 and 4 running backs at this late in the season, and honestly nobody's really standing out, hurts the offense. The fact that we aren't utilizing the seams. We haven't seen Jalen Lloyd on any seams route at all. In the spring game, we seen it. We haven't seen that from him. Other than a few times, we haven't seen Fedoni stretch that out or whatnot. There's other ways to get the defense to respect them, to kind of keep them on their toes. You need a good run game to affect the passing game. You need a good passing game to affect the run game. And we kind of haven't really. Both of them has been inconsistent, and I wonder why. You only use your receivers on certain routes. You don't use your tight end really, enough to stretch the seam or just flat out basic concepts, floods, your dagger concepts, double post, your 3x1 sets and everything like that. So you've made your offense honestly very, very predictable. When you bring in certain guys, okay, this is their tendencies with these guys. So when they're doing that, we're gonna play this. We caught a team off of a bye week who studied us, studied our tendencies on offense or whatnot. So when, Ramirez in and whatnot, okay, we're going to bring the back off the backside, or bring the linebacker off the front side, because this is not what, it makes your offense very, very predictable. And, you got a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this, when it hasn't really gotten us too far instead of, being consistent. The times that we have seen, the offense look consistent and whatnot, who's been in there, one back. If that's late in the game, Emmett with, I think it was at UNI, I know UNI is what they were or whatnot. Yeah. But when he was in there late and consistent and got drives, you've seen the run game kind of started to pop. Dodell early on when we played Colorado, you left him in there consistently and he got in a rhythm and you've seen what he was able to do. Mm-hmm. So I think with the more consistent that you bring into the offense with certain guys and kind of letting them get situated and get comfortable and everything like that, I think you will see the offense open up. Then you'll have certain stuff, in the passing game there. And as long as you utilize, the tight ends, because we have a talented team, we're just not using all of our pieces, and that's not on the players. That's on the play callers.
Interesting. One last question before we go to break, really quick, because the run game in particular. You saw last year the offense wasn't great last year. We don't want to go back to what the offense was last year, but when Harburg was quarterback, we saw the run game be a lot better because your quarterback was a running threat. Nebraska last year was second in the Big Ten, I believe, in rushing, and this year they're like 14th. So it's just kind of interesting because I feel like the only thing that's changed is that you now don't have a running quarterback. How much does having a quarterback that's a threat to run out of that pocket or designed run plays for the quarterback really help a run game?
So you want your quarterback to more so run the ball more so than actually be a quarterback. We were second in the Big Ten because our quarterback would ran. You got running backs that's their job to do and whatnot, but yet we want a quarterback to do that. That makes no sense logically at all.
Interesting.
It makes no sense. Period. You bring guys in for a certain position and yet you don't use them, but yet, the guy last year, last year's last year. Mm-hmm. You were saying run the ball and, everybody was mad at the running backs and, we got to get this going on and everything like that. And again, you're changing people out, like it's candy or whatnot. So I'm not saying that that's not the option, because I don't think if you kind of depend on that, again, you would be more predictable. It goes back to stacking the box in certain situations and everything like that. I don't think that's the answer. You got three running backs that typically go in the game. They all get a lot of touches. They all get, at least probably 60 yards apiece, a minimum. Just, if you cut, let's just say 2 of those guys carries in half and give that to, the first and second guy, those 60-yard carries would go, or 70 or 80 yards or whatever they're averaging. That might go to 120 and 85. Well, you take that more consistent, and that might bring up your percentage. But you got 3 guys spreading thin that's not really getting in any rhythm, and they're honestly, kind of mediocre. Instead of having more of a consistent thing, but you want a running back, you want a quarterback to come in there and kind of take over when that's not his position. That's not smart football, at all. So I don't think that's, would be the goal of it. Now, when you have certain packages and certain things to where, he can do stuff and everything like that, yeah, that's fine and dandy. But you got dudes that you recruited in there to run the ball, and yet, you're cutting everybody's reps. So is it, we need a guy that's, that was doing that last year, or do you need to be more consistent with who you hand the ball off to and kind of let him work and let him do what he was brought there to do?
All right, we'll leave it with that. We're going to go to commercial break. When we come back, we'll get more into specifically Ohio State and how kind of Nebraska matches up against the talented Buckeye team. But you don't go anywhere. You're listening to Don't Punt Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Gentlemen, it's time to elevate your style with something from our men's jewelry and watch collection. Why not treat yourself to the ultimate in luxury? We've got an incredible selection of pre-owned Rolex watches, even those hard-to-find models you've been dreaming of. Whether you're stepping up your game day look or adding a touch of class to everyday wear, our top-tier collection is sure to impress. Stop by Sartor Heyman and discover the perfect piece to reflect your unique style. Until next time, happy shopping, guys.
NEPCO is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEPCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEPCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com. General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank, now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop! Woohoo!
Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Explain to me again why we're sleeping on the ground.
Because we're thramping, thrift camping. It's saving us money and getting us closer to nature.
But we don't need to thramp. I just combined our home and auto insurance with our State Farm agent, so we have a rate that fits our budget.
All right. Do you think our agent can bring us an air mattress?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Des Moines Pierson-El.
Hello, and welcome back into the Don't Punt Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We still got the morning of Pierson-El on the stream. I'm Ben Droz. We're going to now get more into Ohio State and kind of how Nebraska matches up in this because, I mean, we know Ohio State, very talented team, second straight team that Nebraska's playing. That's top 10 in both offense and defense. Ohio State can do it on both ends of the field. And one stat that I found that was very interesting is, and I feel like it's kind of a major problem with Nebraska's offense, is, I mean, we know Ohio State's defense is good. They're ranked 10th right now in red zone defense. Nebraska's red zone offense, 125th in the nation. So Nebraska has really struggled finishing drives in the red zone. And I feel like that's going to be kind of, I mean, if I was going to point to one area that I'm just like, okay, that's a trouble stat when I'm looking at that, that's what it is. Because Ohio State, very good red zone defense. Nebraska has really struggled in the red zone offense. What do you feel like causes an offense to kind of struggle in the red zone? Do you feel like that's more play calling? Or do you like what do you think causes an offense to kind of not be able to find success in that area?
Not being confident from an offensive play caller. I mean, you move down the field necessarily, and then when things get, as you approaching, the red zone, green zone, and everything like that, like certain things have to happen faster. Throws, reads have to be quicker because there's not that much space.
Mm-hmm.
You would like to run, but necessarily, your offensive line necessarily isn't, moving people a yard and a half to 2 yards back off the ball. So the offensive coordinator, being inconsistent with what he wants to do or nervous to call certain stuff and everything like that, you see why certain stuff backfires on the field because you don't really know what you can lay your hat on. Like, what do we do well when we get down here? Now, when they get on, 1 or 2 yard lines in, okay, we got certain things or whatnot. But, 15 yards and in that fringe kind of zone, it's nervous because you don't have, your go-to play calls to do when we have players that can, be nightmare matchups, certain things that we can do, if you want to have people do jerk routes and everything like that from the slot, Barney could probably do that. You might have Naor Banks, probably can do that. Jalen Lloyd can do that, but we don't have that happen. If you got, your option runners, you should know who are your better option runners. We don't really have that because we don't, call it. We either do fades, or corner routes. Typically, when we get down there, and when people kind of clamp that and kind of inside out you, or put two defenders on that, or take away certain stuff, you leave the team high and dry. The athletes on the field don't call the plays. Yes, it's their job to execute certain stuff or whatnot, but if it's not really a play that we're confident in or, comfortable with doing or whatnot, or you haven't identified what this team does best down there, is that really on the players, or is that more so on the coach not, doing a better job of working on certain stuff?
And again, this is why I feel like the Herbert conversation is a little interesting because, I mean, some fans kind of maybe feel that if you have a quarterback that's more of a threat to run in the red zone, especially, maybe that could lead to a little bit more success, especially, getting some of those designed quarterback run plays. Do you feel like maybe
Harburg was in there and should have scored, but he didn't. So now what's the excuse?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was still in there and still didn't score. So now what? He's just like everybody else on the team. It goes back to, assignment free football, meaning, not missing your assignments, which, Fedoni missed the safety coming or whatever. Harburg can be in there all he wants to. They're going to have extra people. They're going to have free people to make plays. And if you can't make a man miss, break a tackle, or people aren't, hitting their assignments, well, then that's a piece of it. And then the other part is, again, it goes back to, okay, you got your certain guys for certain stuff. If the team likes to play man or zone, call an option route for one of your quicker, shiftier dudes. A linebacker is ISO'd on Barney, or a nickel is iced up on Barney, or, if you want a bigger target in there, you can switch one of your outside receivers inside, give them an option route. Give them a jerk route or something like that, or, run mesh. Y'all want to play man, y'all want to play zone and everything like that, layer certain stuff. but we don't necessarily really have that. You see the mesh stuff with honestly only Ramir in when he's running certain stuff and everything like that. So I don't think we've really identified our strong points once we get closer to that or have certain play calls or certain people to go to. And then secondly, execution down there. It's I feel like the closer we get down there, the more things kind of unravel a little bit. We can have 2nd and 30 incompleted, 2nd and 20 incompleted, or 3rd and 15 is still completed, but yet when it counts to get in the zone, we're not really efficient, and that can't happen with going against an opponent like Ohio State.
Yeah, and I mean, one last thing on the offense before we go more onto the defensive side for Nebraska. I mean, the big problem with this offense is, they've been driving, but they kind of stall out by that red zone area. But I feel like a lot of that is just because I feel like it can be very taxing when you don't get that big play. A lot of offenses rely on, that big play to really get momentum shift, be able to move the ball. It just feels like Nebraska has to grind for every yard, every first down. And I mean, how tolling can that be on an offense? Just, every time having to use all 3 downs, or every time you're getting like this 3-4 yards, you just don't ever get that big play. How taxing can that kind of be? I don't want to say like on confidence, but just an offense's ability to be consistent.
It's annoying because we've seen them hit big plays time and time again. Emmett has had big plays. Ramirez had big plays. Fedonia's had everybody's had their own, at least 2-3 big plays this season. So it's there, but for whatever reason, when you don't have too much space or something like that, it kind of knocks the wind out of the sails or whatnot. So I mean, one or two things have to kind of get done and situated. Either practice things a little bit more, or people break tackles and score. Don't put the team in that position. But I mean, it's not anything that I would say, that puts the team down or anything like that. Yeah, it's one of those things that you just try and keep fighting to overcome it, and hopefully, the next drive to get things done and over with, and continue to step over that hurdle or whatnot, and not be snuffed out, or here we go again on 3rd and short, or we're within 20 yards of scoring on the end zone and have to rely on field goals or whatnot or anything like that.
Moving on to the defense, we know Ohio State has a very good running game led by Judkins and Henderson. Nebraska really struggled to stop the run game against Indiana. What do you feel like is kind of a key to maybe being able to slow down the run game for Ohio State?
They're going to have to tackle like one-on-one ISO situations. If you have an opportunity, like you have to make the play. You can't afford to be, miss angles or, bounce off a tackle, or we can't afford that this week because it can get ugly. I think the one thing that the Ohio State offense does well is finding their matchups, whether that's, motioning and getting the right call. The defense is going to have eye discipline this week. You got Chip Kelly, things happen, fast, movement fast and everything like that. They kind of hit you with simple kind of discipline type things. And if you're not, disciplined with understanding what your assignment in, it could get ugly real fast. They have 2 really good wide receivers that, have been going off and whatnot. You got to limit, them to their big plays and everything like that to kind of stop the snowballing from happening or whatnot. So, I mean, in order to not repeat last week, make your tackles. I think if you go back and watch the game, it was a lot of one-on-one situations, and they could have been, trying to been working at combo situations where, or one person kind of holds the guy, slow the guy in, and everybody rallies. This week, they're going to have to get the guys on the ground. I think that's going to be pivotal for them, winning this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, because if Ohio State has the same kind of success that Indiana did running the ball, it's going to be really hard because once that run game gets going, that's when the passing game gets open. And speaking of the passing game, I mean, Nebraska's secondary has been, they've been kind of a pleasant surprise. The secondary was kind of seen as, kind of one of the weaker parts of the defense heading into the season. And I mean, especially, Sierra Wright came in. He's been very solid. Hartzog's been pretty good. Tommy Hill, we know how good he is. but it seemed like against Indiana, the secondary probably had the worst performance of the year. What do you kind of feel like led to that?
I don't think we ever really do well with morning games. I hate when we get scheduled in the morning games. I think that it's just, and we've seen it from, Ohio State. If you look at some of the Ohio State games, I think they played Iowa early. Iowa was in the game for a half. Marshall was in the game for a half, so I just don't think we start off fast in the morning. We're not really of a morning team, so I think that was a piece of it. Just waking up and whatnot, and then just the ugly got worse real quick. But them having that last week, I think they can bring the juice and all right, well, they know what they felt like and what things were last week. I think this week, they'll be more aware and cautious of all right, well, I can't do that again. They'll be up earlier. They'll be kind of understanding it's a big game. You got, you're going into a very hostile environment with things and whatnot. So I think them being aware of the situation, hopefully, we don't see the same kind of things happen last week as this week.
Yeah, and both White and Rule, when talking about the secondary, I mean, I definitely don't feel like it's a talent issue with that secondary because they've shown that what they can do. I feel like a big problem though, and Rule and White kind of talked about this, was maybe having too many one-on-one with the secondary, like leaving the corner on an island too often. Do you feel like that's maybe something that Tony White can maybe try to adjust and not leave a corner on an island as much with just a wide receiver, not putting them in those situations where they're in a 50-50 ball a lot?
I think this week you kind of want that, because if the kid from Alabama didn't have, and he's been awesome his whole season, but if he didn't have kind of that Georgia game, the Ohio State kid has been going nuts. He didn't have a terrible game against Oregon. So I think you more so better have, help shaded to certain sides. I don't think you can protect that at all times to stand in the zone or putting that because they're effective at running the ball. So maybe limited or switching things up or, drawing things differently to kind of make, the receiver think a little bit more, and he might not get as much, one-on-one action this week as they typically have been. But you're a Division I athlete. If you plan on going to the next level, at some point in time, you're going to have to be, left on an island, you're alone. And if that's your biggest concern and you can't kind of take up that type of battle, then you might want to think of playing corner, go play nickel, go play safety. If you can't, if you're at this level and you can't really be put on an island yourself. So we don't have to leave them out there for the whole game or anything like that. But at some point in time, the dog's going to have to come off the porch.
Definitely. All right. We got one last commercial break, and then we'll have one last segment. We're get some predictions for the Ohio State game up next. But you're listening to the Don't Punt Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session, and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Riddle's Jewelry is excited to be celebrating 65 years. 65 years of so many incredible memories celebrating with each of your special moments. In celebration of the 65th Riddle's Jewelry anniversary, we will be offering up to 40% off all engagement rings and all diamond fashion jewelry. The excitement doesn't stop there. Riddle's Jewelry is also offering 18 months, 0% interest and $0 down financing on all qualifying purchases. Riddle's Jewelry has always been known for incredible customer service, one of the largest selections of engagement rings, and don't forget about the on-site jeweler. Come celebrate with us at Riddle's Jewelry, your one-stop diamond shop with exclusive Levian jewelry, Pandora Charm jewelry, and more. All at Riddle's inside Gateway Mall. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant. 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
It's game. This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
One last segment on the Don't Punt Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. DeMornay Pierson-El is still here. I'm Ben Droz. let's real quick wrap it up. I just want to get kind of your prediction. What do you see happening on Saturday morning?
That's a loaded question. Isn't it?
It is. Take as much time as you need, Demore. Take as much time.
It depends what Nebraska team shows up.
Yep.
The one that I'm hoping and praying for is the more consistent on both ends, most complete team. If they show up, I think it'll be a game.
No, I agree. I mean, the problem is that we know Nebraska is a talented enough team to maybe not beat Ohio State, but to really be able to maybe push the tempo in this game and be able to make this a close game. The problem is we haven't seen it for 4 quarters, and that's kind of the part that worries me about this game is that, if Nebraska doesn't come out of the gate strong, which you said, during morning games, they've really started slow. If they don't come out of the gate strong, Ohio State gets a 14-0 lead. Is it going to be very similar to what happened in Indiana where you start getting that snowball effect?
Hopefully not. The one thing that I think that Ohio State has shown when it's aggressive physical team, that they kind of, Oregon, they don't. They did what they did against Ohio State, but you look at who they were playing and whatnot and what they did. They punched Ohio State in the mouth. If you can be a physical team for Ohio State, and the thing that we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to score to keep up with them. We're gonna have to be physical, and we're gonna have to score to keep up with them. If we can score consistently and everything like that, I think we're gonna have a game. I think we'll have a better chance. But if we do not put points up consistently, I think it could turn into an ugly game pretty quickly.
What's your one key to the game? If for Nebraska to make this a competitive game, if you were to point to one key, what would it be?
We're gonna have to play mistake free on both sides.
There you go. Yeah.
You're gonna pretty much who is it? Kennesaw State or who the other night?
Yeah, Kennesaw State. Yeah.
Like pretty much mistake free. If they play mistake free on offense and defense, it'll be a game. I'm not saying it has to be a shootout or anything like that, but mistake free. Off defense, tackle, offense. No blown assignments, no missed assignments, and score the ball. We do that. I think people will be, and the thing about that is like we've typically played Ohio State pretty well. It's there. I think coach is gonna have their minds right and everything like that. You just have to go out there and perform and execute.
Speaking of mistakes, real quick before we head out, I don't know if you've touched on it on the show, but the Ja'Cory Barney on the opening kickoff of the game for Nebraska, going out the 1. I know you were a punt returner. How did that? What? I just want your opinion on that.
It's a morning game. Like his mind wasn't all the way going. Like he's a freshman. It's on him for certain stuff and for doing that. But come on, the coach has got to do a better job of understanding situational football with stuff. It was pivotal. My special teams coaches in college, my special team coaches at the pro level made sure any and every possibility, what went down that I wouldn't put the team in a bad position. And even if that's watching our own film or watching film, from around. But, if people kick the ball out close to the sideline, certain things that you can do to kind of, move the ball, instead of being taken out that 20, 25, we might get to 30 or whatnot and everything like that. So, that's just bad execution on both parts. And it's just early. It was early in the game. It's, I think, second drive?
It was the first. Indiana scored. And then they were kicking off to Nebraska.
Yeah, so it's just man, you got to wake up. Your brain got to be turned on, and it was just one of those, early morning mistakes type of thing. That was the first time you've really seen him do anything. So that's what I'm attributing it to. But also the coaches got to do better with illustrating certain what to do and what not to do type situations.
All right, perfect. Well, DeMornay, thank you so much for being here on a Thursday. We're going to be watching the Ohio State game on Saturday, and hopefully it's a closer game than last week. So then we have maybe some more positives to point to this week. But once again, Thank you, Mornay. Up next, we got Chancellor Brewington. What's brewing with Chancellor Brewington? Right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken